More and more companies are requiring their employees to come into the office. Maybe a hybrid model, maybe they're scrapping remote work altogether. But either way, what they're realizing is that some portion of their workforce is having a little bit of difficulty engaging in the business world as one would, right? Typical conversations during business dinners or business meetings, difficulty in etiquette in the office. And so the big solution here is to send their workers to so-called etiquette classes. Now look, this isn't a conversation about teaching workers which fork they're supposed to use if they're sitting in front of a table setting that has a billion forks and a billion spoons. That's not what this is about. This is really about learning how to network, learning how to engage in business deals and business dealings. And here's what one survey that was done in July of 2023 by Resume Builder found. They spoke to 1,548 business leaders, and they reported that 6 in 10 companies stated that they will send their employees to office etiquette class by 2024. 45% of business leaders surveyed say that their company currently offers that etiquette training, and 20% plan to offer training in the future. Among companies who currently or plan to offer office etiquette classes, 60% say the courses will be required for all employees. 21% say they will be optional for all employees, while 19% say they will be required for certain employees. And of the group that say etiquette classes will be required for only some employees, 54% or 10% of all companies offering these classes say the training will be required for most or all new college graduates and employees aged 18 to 27. And just to be a little more specific about what they train in these classes, making polite conversation, dressing professionally, writing professional emails, taking constructive criticism, making polite eye contact, and taking appropriate lunch breaks. Those are some of the things that they learn in these so-called etiquette classes. So Cenk, I'm really curious what you think about this. I'm actually not against it. I think that this could actually, I mean, look, if the employer is paying for it, these are skills that you can take with you and use to your advantage throughout your career. Yeah. Right?
So look, I had mixed feelings in the beginning, and there are some portions that are about the forks and the knives. They, for example, apparently they teach you not to blow on your soup no matter how hot it is. Which I was like, really? That's a thing?
Who's teaching this class? Jesse Waters?
I don't know, or Miss Manners? I don't get it, right? So look, I understand that, but even that, there's some expectations, and it might be obvious to you, but it might not be obvious to everyone, right? So if you go to a business dinner and blowing on the soup, the fork knife, the salad fork or the entree fork, who cares, right? And I'll tell you right now, in the modern business world, no one cares, okay? But if you're making a mess of your food and you eat like this and yeah, okay, I guess, right? But when you get to the more substantive stuff, then I switched and I was like, wow, yeah, there's a lot of logic in that.
Okay? Totally, yeah, I agree.
So let me tell you a bunch of things that happen in the office where it could help to have this kind of course.
Can you hold that thought? Because I was actually going to request that you share a story that you had shared on the show a long time ago about like an important business meeting that you had. And you didn't know that you're not supposed to order like, I don't know, I think you ordered like waffles or something. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, can you tell that story again?
So I had worked with this guy back in Miami, and we all got fired because our station got sold off to another group. Okay, so most of us moved to LA because that's where all the TV jobs were, and I was a TV writer at the time. So I go back and meet with my old boss because I got to figure out my connections here in LA, and I had like 2 or 3, and he was one of them. So he takes me to a fancy breakfast, and I feel good about that, and he's paying for it. It's all good so far, but he's a strange bird, right? And he's a very forceful guy, right? And there's a lot of strong opinions, and some of them are correct, some of them not so much. I learned, okay? So I go to that breakfast, and he orders some fruit salad or something, and I'm like, oh, nice little fancy place. I'll get some waffles. They look amazing. I'm gonna put some bananas on there. Okay, and I enjoy the breakfast as we're talking about. Why not? Afterwards, he chastises me and says, "Oh, you're never gonna get anywhere in this town if you're ordering waffles for breakfast." I was like,
I don't know know why I love that story so much, but I do.
He's like, first of all, it's obvious that because you're ordering the waffles that you're not trying to stay in shape. You always have to look good. It doesn't matter if you're a writer or not writer. Everything is superficial. But he didn't say it in like, oh, that's a shame. It was more like, it should be superficial. Come on, straighten up.
It is what it is. You got to play the game.
Yeah, and if you're at a business breakfast or lunch, you shouldn't order things like that. You should pretend to eat less. And so look, you can view it as helpful hints, right? But it was hilarious to me. And it did not dissuade me from ordering waffles from then on. Okay.
So talk about what you think happens in the office where these etiquette classes could actually come in and be helpful.
Yeah, so if I'm in a business meeting and let's say it was with someone I'm considering hiring, I don't give a damn what they're eating, right? That's not a concern to me. But things that do matter are like when you're in the office, rule number one for me is it's almost always miscommunication. So everybody always if classes taught folks don't assume bad intent, that right there would be worth the price of admission.
100%, I totally agree.
Yeah, because it's human nature. Like what happens is there's always miscommunication and a lot of times people assume bad intent.
Right.
And then they get into a huge fight. When hold on. Do you guys even know, like, what did she say, what did he say? Oh, it turns out that I didn't see that email or the other thing happened. So just be kind to one another, not out of like some hippy dippy thing, but as a matter of a team working together. If you're constantly sniping at each other, any sports team knows the same thing. Once you have the dissension, it's never gonna work, right? So yes, there are a lot of, my brother-in-law is an executive at a company, and whenever they offer anything like this, he always takes it. And then he tells me about it.
He should.
Yeah.
Look, I gotta be honest with you. I mean, I pay for this, right? I don't pay for etiquette classes, but I have a coach. Like I have a career coach and I need her. I love her. Her name is Susan. She's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. And what she helps me navigate is my salt, because you know how I am, Cenk. And sometimes I want to come in, look, sometimes I want to come into the office and I want to rage. And that's not gonna
I've never seen it. Have you guys ever seen it?
So she teaches me, the skills necessary to navigate these conflicts so I don't, blow things up.
Yeah, you gotta watch the waffles and you gotta watch your salt intake. Okay, so but the bottom line is, the most important thing they can teach you is how to work with others. And you might think that that's obvious, but
it's not.
Because, first of all, you might be right about you. But remember, it's not obvious to everyone. And everybody has a different range of things they know, things they've experienced growing up, and different personalities. So I also have friends and family, that, we all do too. I'm gonna spit it out, that are more awkward, right? And so for those folks, they don't see the social cues that I see, right? And so for them, pointing out the social cues in a way that's constructive could be super helpful to them. But the bottom line is, the most important thing is, they kind of teach you how do you work with others. Whether it's people outside the company when you're networking, which is actually for your career is super important. The more people you know, the more people that might hire you one day, or that you could do a business deal with, etc. Now, if you're not in the business world, then it's not relevant to you. But those things, if you're in the business world, are very, very relevant. But working with people within the company is even more important. And one of the things I would say is the hardest thing, and I get it, guys, it's super hard, and I've been there too, is taking constructive criticism. And so
it makes you, it helps you progress. It makes you better, right? Obviously, there's a huge distinction between, non-constructive criticism, just straight up criticism for the sake of criticism, and constructive criticism, which you can take and use to your advantage to get better at your job, And I think that, look, it's tough to hear criticism at all. I totally get that, and I understand that that urge to have like a knee-jerk negative reaction to it. But try to take that lemon and make some delicious lemonade out of it.
Again, I'll give you a sports example. A friend of mine told me, after playing football with him for like 30 years, but anyways, I wish he'd give me that constructive criticism earlier. He's like, I'm quarterback and I throw to the left, I throw really well. He's like, but I didn't realize the disparity between the left and right. He's like, but knucklehead, when you throw to the right, you throw off your back foot and you throw 10 times more interceptions to your right. Okay, see, now you might take that as, how dare you to say that I throw interceptions and I'm doing it wrong. He said, no, but the brother's trying to help you. Step into the throw when you throw into the right and you'll do better. So that's a constructive critique. And so if you get super defensive about it, you're never gonna break through and be able to get better as you go along. So these are all lessons that you could argue should be taught in school.
Yes.
And school never teaches these, and these real life lessons oftentimes are way more valuable than the things you learn in school.
Look, one of the more memorable courses I had in high school actually was this, right? A version of this. How do you carry yourself in a job interview? Like just basic life skills that help you succeed in the workplace. So while I usually look down at stuff like this, especially when it's forced upon workers, this is one of the rare instances where it's not just beneficial for the employer, it's actually beneficial for the employee as well, in that it'll teach the employee certain skills that they can take with them and succeed and move up in the corporate world if that's what they're doing with their careers.
Yeah. So, and even if they have some mismanners type of things about the soup and the forks and stuff, bear through it to get to the good stuff.
But this is America, okay? No one cares about the damn forks or the damn spoons. Let's just keep it real. Does anyone really care?
In my experience, in this day and age, if someone cares about the salad fork being in the right place, they're usually unbearable and not someone I want to do business with anyway.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.